Hello and welcome to my series of Overwatch Hero Guides, a selection of videos where I take a look at the playable characters within Overwatch and analyse their backstory, weapons, abilities and explain some of their best strategies and counters. You can find a link to the playlist below which will contain all of the hero guides that I have completed to date. In this video we'll be taking a look at Bastion. Originally, the Bastion mechs were created for the sole purpose of peacekeeping, almost like futuristic coppers, but with the ability to turn into a massive Gatling gun at the flick of a switch. Is it just me that sees the issue of a walking, talking Gatling gun policing the streets? Anyway, they were repurposed during the Omnic Crisis to form a large part of the Omnic army, fighting against their human creators. Many of the original units were destroyed in battles or disassembled after the Crisis had ended, so there aren't actually many of them left knocking around. The Bastion unit that we know and love within the game was damaged in battle and left to slowly rust away where he lay. Years later, he rebooted with most of his combat programming scrambled and was reborn as the inquisitive and curious mech that we see in the game. This explains the significance of the bird that sits on his shoulder during the play of the game end screens. Bastion essentially has two weapons up his sleeve. In his recon mode, he wields an SMG type weapon that fires bullets at a rate of 480 rounds per minute, doing a maximum damage of 20 damage up close, with a damage drop off to a minimum of 6 at medium to longer ranges. Performing headshots will double the damage inflicted, with effective damage being 40 at close range and 12 at long. It has 20 rounds in the magazine, so firing full auto will burn through the entire magazine in 2.5 seconds, which is followed up by a reload time of 2 seconds. Switching to sentry mode, we gain access to Bastion's second main weapon, the Gatling gun. This puppy is capable of dealing massive damage between short and medium ranges thanks to its insane 2,100 rounds per minute rate of fire. The damage model is set slightly lower than its SMG counterpart, with a maximum damage of 15 up close, which drops off to 4 at longer ranges, although again, headshots with this weapon will deal double damage. You have 200 rounds to play with before needing to reload, and the reload time is a ridiculously short 2.5 seconds, which is pretty insane considering it takes a good 5.7 seconds to drain the ammo counter. We've already touched on Bastion's first ability, and that's switching between recon and sentry mode. In recon mode, you're able to move around freely at a fairly standard speed and use the SMG weapon. In sentry mode, you buckle down lower to the ground as you transform into a Gatling gun. Whilst in this mode, you can turn and look around the full 360 degrees surrounding your character, but you aren't actually able to physically move whatsoever, rendering you completely immobile. Switching between these two modes is the most critical aspect of Bastion to master. Knowing when and where to switch between the two can be a matter of life and death for you as a player, as a matter of winning and losing for the team. You want to set up in sentry mode in areas that overlook busy areas of the map, perhaps ledges above or to the side of objectives, or behind choke points, as this is where the enemy team are going to be the least aware of your presence. With all of the chaos being caused by the rest of your team, it's more likely that the enemy team will gloss over you in these positions than any other position on the map. That being said, now the game has been out for a few weeks, most players are aware of the massive damage that he's capable of dealing, and are usually fairly aware of where to check for Bastion. It's because of this that you need to get used to switching to recon mode and bolting if your health starts to deplete, or if the enemy team starts to get a little bit too close for comfort. Retreat, relocate and exterminate. Make sure that where you set up has a route that you can fall back through to cover, so you can use the second ability of Bastion, self-healing. Yes, you actually have the ability to replenish your hit points on the spot using a small welding torch that pops out of the back of his bodywork. The caveat to this though is that you're rendered immobile while using it, meaning you can't move or fire whilst it's activated, hence the importance of turning tail and finding a safe spot to recuperate. Luckily, you can regenerate 25% of your total hit point in 1 second, so using this ability doesn't put you out of action for extensive lengths of time. You have a total of 200 health plus 100 armor to play with, so we can take a fair amount of damage, but some heroes are capable of depleting that with their high-powered attacks. Survivability is the key as Bastion. Staying alive and getting yourself into inconvenient positions for the enemy team will net you more ridiculous multi-kills and plays of the game, provided you can play him right. Whilst he's listed as a defensive hero, he can be incredibly effective as an offensive hero when paired with a well-picked team. For example, if you sit on the payload in sentry mode with a Reinhardt blocking frontal damage and other heroes providing cover fire and health regen, then you've got yourself a mobile tank moving forward into enemy territory. Bear in mind that the payload will also provide you with a small amount of health regen while sitting on it, even without a healer nearby, so don't worry too much if you haven't got a Mercy or a Lucio to back you up, although those heroes would be welcome. Moving on to Bastion's signature ultimate move, once it charges up you have the ability to transform into a powerful little tank for a total of 8 seconds. During this time you can fire high damage cannonballs at opponents, which do a total of 205 damage for a direct hit, with bonus splash damage and knockback being dealt to surrounding heroes. Once transformed, a large amount of armor is added to his total, meaning that he's more capable of diving into the crowds of enemies to deal massive amounts of damage. Just be aware that when you are released from this form you are put straight back into recon mode, so be wary of the time limit if you aren't able to wipe out the enemies in the entire 8 seconds, as you end up becoming a pretty vulnerable target once those 8 seconds run out. Contrary to popular belief, Bastion is not actually OP and can be easily countered with the right hero. The main ones to watch out for are Genji, Reaper, Roadhog and Widowmaker. Genji's deflect ability can reflect Bastion's Gatling gunfire straight back at him, which will deplete his health ridiculously quickly. Reaper's Shadow Step will allow him to teleport behind an unsuspecting Bastion and take him down quickly with the weak spot on the back of his turret form. That's the big blue square that you can see right there. Roadhog, provided he's able to get close enough, is able to use his hook to wrench Bastion from his lookout and bring him to his recon mode knees. Widowmaker can use her charged sniper shots to deal massive damage from a range that Bastion is incapable of challenging. So if you come against a Bastion on the opposite team, try using these techniques to counter him, and if you're playing as Bastion yourself, make sure to keep an eye out for those 4 specific heroes and their abilities. They're the ones to watch out for, and they will be your demise if you fail to spot them. And there you have it, that is your complete guide to Bastion within Overwatch. Bear in mind that this guide is up to date as of June 2016, and any future patches that release later on might change some of the nitty-gritty details like his damage model. Just be aware of that. If you enjoyed or you found this helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this, and I shall catch you in another video.